The Rangers announced their minor league players of the year awards. And for my show today, I've got some interesting awards of my own to give out.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the Texas Rangers, the first and best daily Rangers podcast. I'm Bryce Patrick, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan, covering this team for 12 seasons, including all 7 as the founder and host of this podcast. Thank you all so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. If not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Hit subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Now, on today's show, we're talking about the Rangers Minor League Player of the Year awards. I'm giving out my own Rangers minor league superlatives, and we're going to talk about Kumar Rocker's first start in over a month and why I'm both confused, intrigued, and a little bit scared. Before we get into all that, this episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Go to 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Now, the Rangers yesterday announced their minor league player of the year awards. They give out 5 different awards now. The Tom Grieve player of the year, the Nolan Ryan pitcher of the year, reliever of the year, defender of the year, and true Ranger award, which that last one is just very, there's not really that defined of a role of that. Was established back in 2019. The Rangers say in their press release, it highlights a player who represents the core values of the organization in a positive light, both on and off the field. So just really a good guy award. Feels like kind of the mantra of that. But there were a few surprises in the Rangers minor league player of the year, at least for me when I first thought about it. It was not who I expected, but it is definitely a deserving candidate. The Rangers minor league player of the year is Cody Freeman, who had an absolutely incredible year in the minor leagues and some really special moments in the major leagues as one of those little rascals. The Rangers Nolan Ryan pitcher of the year has gone to David Davalillo, who finished his year up in Frisco with those Rough Riders. Had a really fantastic year, kind of broke onto the scene. A guy who I had at the bottom of my top 30 last year, or around the bottom of my top 30 prospects last year. Just a guy kind of just stat line scouting of saying, hey, this is a guy to keep an eye on. And he had a phenomenal year this year. The Rangers reliever of the award goes to right-handed pitcher Eric Loomis, who had some crazy strikeout numbers. I'll talk about him in just a second. The defender of the year goes to outfielder Yeremy Cabrera, who was fantastic defensively down there as a 20-year-old in the single A Hickory with the Hickory Crawdads. So pretty good year for him. And then the True Ranger award, catcher / first baseman Cal Stark, who on the field, not too much impressive in terms of offense. I mean, he played 21 games as a catcher. He played 10 games at first base, 4 at DH, a little bit of left field, a little bit of right field as well. He's an Arlington native who was an undrafted signee out of the University of Tennessee back in July of 2024. His OPS was 515, so not impressive on the time, but on it and off it, representing whatever those true values of the Rangers are. I want to start with Cody Freeman, who we know Cody Freeman had an incredible year, a bunch of, really nice moments once he got sent back down to the minor leagues after getting his first little taste of Major League Baseball, getting his first hit. I mean, he had some incredibly clutch moments with the Little Rascal Rangers, including a homer in that series and some really impressive RBIs in that series against Houston, where not many people did much of anything. But what he did in Round Rock this year was absolutely phenomenal. 97 games, a little bit over 400 plate appearances, hit .336 with a .382 on base, and slugged just a point shy of .550. That is a .932 OPS while playing about a bazillion different positions. I mean, playing a little bit in left, playing a little bit at third, playing a little bit at second, playing a game at first, played a little bit at shortstop as well, DH'd for 3 games. I mean, this guy played everywhere on the diamond. He is just such a scrappy little rascal baseball player, and not just scrappy. I mean, the dude's got pop. I mean, 25 doubles and 19 home runs in 97 games. That's fantastic. Finishes the year with a total, at least so far, of 22 home runs when you combine the 3 he hit in 28 big league games this year. This is a guy who I think is going to be playing every day from now until the end of this season, and he absolutely deserves this award. There weren't a whole lot of outstanding offensive players this year. There were some guys who were definitely notable, and some, of the top Rangers prospects who, did their job. I've got some awards for a lot of different guys later on in this show, but for the best minor league position player, it's Cody Freeman, and it is not particularly close. Congratulations to this little dirtbag in the most affectionate way possible, this baseball rat. What an incredible season for Cody Freeman. And David Davalillo was a guy who really had a fantastic season this year. Spent time between 2 different teams with Frisco and Hub City. With Hub City, he was fantastic. 11 starts there, a 2.12 ERA, 51 innings and 12 Ks per 9, walked fewer than 2 per 9. This was a very, very efficient pitcher. Then jumped up to Frisco, and the numbers were still pretty good. Not quite as impressive as what he had done in Hub City. The strikeouts were down a little bit to just a little bit over a strikeout per inning, but a 2.7 ERA in 12 games and 56 innings, that's nothing to sneeze at. The walks were still below 3 per 9, still did not give up a whole lot of hits per 9 or home runs per 9, around a half a homer per 9 innings on the year. A very impressive year, a 2.44 ERA, 107 innings, 126 strikeouts. That is a good year. And I'm really hoping that David Davalillo can buck the trend of the last several years having issues the following season for the guy who wins the Rangers Minor League Player of the Year award. I'll talk a little bit about the guy who won it last year and what has befallen him. But I mean, there have been so many different Tommy Johns. I mean, Jose Corniell immediately that next year got Tommy John surgery. Alejandro Rosario, who got it last year, had Tommy John this year and has had a weird year. I do have an award for Alejandro Rosario, who did not pitch at all this year outside of spring training, where he got hurt. But I'm really hoping that Davalillo can buck the trend. A really good year for him. I still think he's probably a number 4 starter at best. I didn't see him on his best day. I saw him on a deficient day, a day where he didn't get a whole lot of swings and misses. He's a guy who gets a lot of weak contact, knows how to pitch, and had a lot of success while doing so this year. Still very, very young, only 22 years old, which is 2.5 years younger than the average pitcher at this level in AA. I'd imagine next year he starts at AA again, but this is a great year for Davalillo, a very worthy candidate of this award. I don't have that much to say about anybody else on this list outside of Eric Loomis, who you probably haven't heard of a whole lot of Rangers relief prospects, but Loomis might be a guy I have to put on my top 30 next year. He spent time between 3 levels this year: Hickory, Hub City, and Frisco, low A, high A, and double A. And while his numbers overall in Frisco, at least the run prevention, was not particularly great, he struggled quite a bit with the walks and the hits and a little bit with the homers in Frisco. 7 walks per 9, 1.2 homers per 9, and 8.2 hits per 9. The strikeout rate in Frisco, he had a 7 ERA in 7 games and 7.2 innings. The strikeout rate, though, really at all 3 levels, was absolutely phenomenal. 17.6 Ks per 9 in Frisco, 14 Ks per 9 in Hub City, 13.5 Ks per 9 in Hickory. In Hub City, where he pitched the majority of this year, he had 35 innings, 55 strikeouts. Now, he did still have a problem with the walks, over 4 per 9, but didn't allow a single home run, only allowed 3.3 hits per 9 innings as a reliever in Hub City. He had a 1.8 ERA, had a 2.9 ERA or 2.89 ERA in Hickory this year, and had 14 Ks in 9 1/3 innings there. I mean, this guy has got some crazy strikeout numbers, and if he can just rein those walks in just a little bit, this might be a guy who is maybe sniffing the Rangers bullpen by midseason next year. We'll see where all of that goes, but shout out to all of these award winners. Very deserving candidates, very by the book awards for the most part, very well defined. But I've got some Rangers minor league superlatives that I want to give out, and I guarantee you they're not ones that you've heard of before, because I don't know that anybody has given these awards out before. Talk about that and more right after this. This show is brought to you by Zippix. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine-infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy the cravings, a hand-to-mouth habit, without vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligram and 3 milligram nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. Zippix's taste is so good. The caffeine is getting those before big meetings without all that crash of the energy drinks and giving the jitters like those other energy drinks. It is fantastic. They've got great flavors like peppermint, watermelon, ice. It tastes so good. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com. Use code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. Must be 21 or older to order. Warning, nicotine is addictive chemical. That's zippixtoothpicks.com, promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix Toothpicks. Shout out to the Everydayers making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. On Monday's show, I'll be back and talking about this weekend series because there is still Major League Baseball going on. And I am going to talk about a couple Major League players, well, more than I already have in Cody Freeman, the award winner, at the end of this show, or at least in the third segment of this show. But the Rangers gave out their minor league awards for the year. I've got some of my own. There also was just a little bit of news that I wanted to touch on in the minor leagues. Not just those, but Emiliano Teodo, Winston Santos, and Aaron Zavala were all promoted to AAA Round Rock for the final week of the season as that team is pushing for a playoff spot in the AAA postseason. But now I want to talk about my award picks. There are a few of them that I have for this season, and I want to just give out, kind of use this as an excuse to just talk about whoever I wanted to talk about on the minor league side this year. Now, I'm not going to give out my Rangers minor league pitch of the year award because of all the things that have been associated with that award. I mean, with what happened to Cole Winn, to Cole Reagans, to the last 2 award winners, you look all the way up and down for the last, several, you're up at 2019. The last few heading into that, you had Ariel Jurado in 2015. You had Chichi Gonzalez in 2014. Kyle Cody in 2017. Tyler Phillips in 2018. Jason Barr in 2019. I mean, my goodness, there have been a lot of bad things that have happened to guys who win minor league pitcher of the year for the Texas Rangers. So I'm going to give out the award of really good minor league pitcher this year. Not minor league pitcher of the year, but just really good minor league pitcher this year. And I'm giving that award to Caden Scarborough. He absolutely jumped on my radar this year. Not a guy who I was looking out for really at all, because he was a 6th round pick, a guy who was not even a full-time baseball player, played a whole lot of other sports, a very athletic pitcher, was seen as a more raw prospect, a 6th round pick back in 2023 out of high school in Florida, Harmony High School in Harmony, Florida. Listed at 6'5", 185 pounds. I think he's maybe a little bit heavier than that now, but in his first full season of minor league ball, last year, he pitched for a couple different teams, pitched 6 games, 10 and a third innings, struck out 11 per 9, walked nearly 8 per 9. Not super inspiring, but this year he has been absolutely phenomenal. 22 games, 88 innings, 114 strikeouts, 2.1 walks per 9, 11.7 Ks per 9. That is incredible. What he did at 2 levels between Hickory and Hub City, where he's just 20 years old. I mean, the kid's just 20 years old, 2 years out of being drafted, and he's already putting up these numbers. He's looking a lot more polished than anybody expected. He had a 2.88 ERA in 19 games, 75 innings for the Hickory Crawdads, but that's pretty solid. Those 75 innings, 95 strikeouts, that's awesome. That is a great, great season. And then he got promoted to Hub City with Spartan Burgers, where he made 3 starts. He only pitched 13 innings. He struck out 19. He walked just 2. He allowed just 6 hits and no earned runs. He was 3 years younger than the average pitcher at that league. This is his line in those games. The first start with Hub City, 5 innings, 1 walk, 1 hit, 9 strikeouts, no earned runs. The second outing, 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, no runs earned or otherwise. And then, actually, he did allow 3 earned runs, which this is not popping up earlier. I think this was a postseason start, which is why they're not counting it in his final starting numbers. But 4 innings, 3 hits, no walks, 4 Ks in that final regular season start. In the final start in general, 3 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 3 walks, just 2 strikeouts and a homer. Not still for his one bad performance. Yeah, put that together with the other ones. I think that's around a 1.5 ERA, just doing the math off the top of my head. 3 innings or 3 runs in, let's see, 8, 13, 16 innings. Yeah, that's about a 1.2 ERA, even with that, last tough start on the 11th of September. Fantastic season for Caden Scarborough, but I do not want to give him the Rangers minor league pitcher of the year. I'm going to give him a really good pitcher this year. The all right, wow, you're something award. That goes to a guy who really jumped onto the scene at the lowest possible level. The Rangers signed Elorky Rodriguez this year with a lot of the leftover money that they had budgeted for Roki Sasaki in their international free agent class. He was a guy who's 17 years old. He played at the Dominican Summer League. The Rangers gave him just shy of $1.1 million. It was $1.0975 million. And he played pretty darn good at the lowest possible level. You never know with these international prospects at the lowest possible level, these teenagers who are still so far from the big leagues. But with what he did in 46 games in the Dominican Summer League, I'm like, okay, you're something. You're a guy to keep an eye on. Right now, he is the Rangers' 10th best prospect, according to MLB Pipeline. I think that's maybe a little bit generous just because he's so far away, but the bat to ball skills are legit. He hit 337 on the year. The walk to strikeout rate, he walked more than he struck out, and he walked at a really good rate. He had a 473 on base, and the power was already there for a guy who's just 17 years old. He slugged 506. That is a 979 OPS, 6 dingers, 10 doubles, 1 triple, 39 walks to 38 strikeouts and 9 stolen bases as well. This is a really, really solid season. He's still a long ways away, but played a little bit of center field, played a little bit of second base, played a little bit of left field, I believe, as well. The bat to ball skills are legit, and you're something, Elorky Rodriguez, and probably something pretty good. The wow, where did you come from award I'm giving to Devin Fitz-Gerald. Devin Fitz-Gerald was a guy who was by no means on my radar, but was one of the breakout hitters, hitting prospects in this Rangers system. Again, there were not a whole lot to choose from, but he was the Rangers' 5th round pick in 2024. And he wasn't just there is not really all that much going on, so I'm going to give him a pity award. No, this guy was legitimately fantastic. Started his season in the Arizona Complex League, made it all the way to Hickory, and combined at those 2 levels, he played 41 games, hit over 300 on base, over 430, or over 420, and slugged 480, a 910 OPS, walked more than he struck out. Love to see that. 6 dingers in 41 games. Love to see that. 8 stolen bases. Love to see that. I mean, really good advanced plate approach. Just really good at bats, and seems to be a pretty legitimate defender out there at shortstop. Had his season cut short by injuries, so we only saw 41 games from him. But I'm curious to see where he starts next year. I mean, he's still fairly young. He's just 20 years old, just turned 20 in August of this year. But my wow, where'd you come from award? That goes to Devin Fitz-Gerald. My That Dude Can Ball award, that goes to Cameron Cauley. An incredible season for Cam Cauley, a guy who is just such a baseball player. It's such a cliched award, such a cliched term. But I mean, when you watch Cam Cauley, if you were John Madden, you'd be like, there's a guy who knows how to play baseball. And that's exactly how I feel watching Cam Cauley. 113 games this year. The dude's he's just a baller. I mean, he does so many things right on a baseball field. This guy is going to be a big leaguer. I think he's going to have a fairly long big league career. Now, will he be a starter? Will he be a bench guy, a super duper utility guy who plays an incredible defensive shortstop? He plays an incredible defensive second base, which is becoming more and more valuable by the day. He's got elite speed, and he is super aggressive on the base paths. He knows how to use that speed for his benefit, for his team's benefit. I really like what I saw from them out there defensively in center field as well. Not quite as strong as what I saw defensively on the infield at second base and at shortstop. I mean, that guy is a legit big league, good big league caliber defensive shortstop or second base. Right now, you pop him in there, and he more than holds his own in center field. A guy who can play 3 premium defensive positions with elite speed and some power as well. I mean, 15 home runs, 26 doubles, 7 triples this year, and 28 stolen bases to 7 times caught stealing. This guy's got some legit tools at 325 on base percentage. I think the bat to ball skills might keep him from being an everyday starter, but in the big leagues for at least for now. But this kid is a baller. Where we go. That dude can ball award that goes to Cameron Cauley. I have a few more awards to hand out, and I want to talk a little bit about this interesting most recent start last night from Kumar Rocker, where he did not look like the big league version of himself we saw this year, which is both encouraging and a little concerning. All that and more right after this. This show is brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right means cashing in. With football back, PrizePicks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes, all in less than 60 seconds. I'm playing PrizePicks daily, and it is such a fun way to stay locked in on the season. It's quick and honestly my favorite way to follow along with football. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 play. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. This show is also brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost whenever you need it. I mean, sometimes when you're staying up late watching a lot of West Coast games, which I know I'll be watching between now and the end of this season, you just need that little boost the next day to get you through without that crash. That is what 5 Hour Energy provides for you. I love how fast it kicks in, and it's sugar-free, so I don't have to worry about crashing later. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in store and online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Shout out to the everydayers making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. After every single game, Jeff Biggs is with you with the Locked On Rangers postcast, reacting live to all 9 games that are left, and barring several, maybe about 17 miracles, I don't think we're getting any in the postseason, but Jeff Biggs is live with you, reacting live to all 162 in your Locked On Rangers postcast feeds on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Now, I have just a few more awards to give out to Rangers minor league prospects this year. And the next award I want to give out is maybe not the award that I thought I'd be giving out to Sebastian Walcott at the start of this year, but it is the, all right, you did what you needed to award. For a guy who did what he needed to. That this season for Sebastian Walcott at AA, it was not the most impressive thing. It was not unbelievable. It was not, oh my gosh, this is the best prospect in baseball. This guy is tearing this league up. This guy is absolutely obliterating everybody. There's nobody that can stop him, which, you know, some people might have hoped for at the beginning of this year. I kind of had some hope for a little bit of moments like that. But Sebastian Walcott, you're 19 years old. You held your own as a starting shortstop for the AA Frisco Rough Riders, and you finished out the year strong. There were some highs, there were some lows, there was some progression. There was some learning how to struggle and learning how to get better through those struggles and not letting those struggles sink him. In the month of June, it was tough sledding for him. He hit just 239. He did not have a whole lot of power that month. Only 3 extra base hits, just 3 doubles, no homers, no triples in that month. The walk rate was fine, better. I mean, at 367 on base percentage that month, but just the bat to ball skills, the strikeouts were just a little bit much in that month. 22 strikeouts in 109 plate appearances in that month. It was a little bit rough at the beginning of July as well, but since then, even in August, he had some struggles as well. Just a 225 batting average in that month and slugged under 300, a 624 OPS in that month. But in September, he really turned things around, hit over 300, nearly 400, a 391 batting average in 12 games in September. The on base was just 19 points shy of 500, and the slugging percentage was exactly at 500. Only one homer in that month, only one triple. Those two were the only extra base hits he had in the month, but he really finished strong after a pretty bad skid in early to mid-August. I mean, in 28 games, or the last 28 days since the end of the regular season, since today, he played in 19 games. He hit 375 with a 489 on base percentage, 16 walks to just 7 strikeouts. That's something about Sebastian Walcott that I did not expect this year. Overall, the walk rate was much higher than I expected, and the strikeout rate was pretty significantly lower. Only 108 strikeouts this year in 552 plate appearances. He had 70 walks, which is much higher than a 10% rate, I believe. Off the top of my head, that's maybe 12 to 13% walk rate. That's about what Wyatt Langford is doing in the big leagues this year, and he is in the top 10% of big league walk rate. This guy's got incredible top of the scale power, but learning to be more selective. And while I'd still like to see a little bit more in-game power than he showed this year, 13 homers, which is pretty solid. I mean, a homer every 10 games. It could be a little bit better with that raw pop. 19 doubles, 2 triples. And I did like seeing him be aggressive on the base pass because the dude is a legit burner. 32 steals and just 10 times caught stealing. You did what you needed to, Sebastian Walcott. And that was a lot. He needed to do a lot this year. This was an aggressive assignment after a year where he played basically just A ball. He really jumped up as an 18-year-old last year, made it all the way to AA, had some impressive showings in the final couple of weeks of that season. But starting this year as the starting shortstop in AA, I thought he wanted to make the big leagues this year. That was his goal, was to be a teenager in the big leagues. That didn't happen, but hey, you did what you needed to. Now, the I'm seated award. This is 2 guys that I'm seated. When they're in the box, I'm seated. When they're on the mound, I'm seated because they are two-way players, and I'm seated because I want to see what's happening with these guys. Because I am curious, I am intrigued, I am really paying attention to whatever these guys are doing. These are the Rangers' two-way prospects, Josh Owens, who the Rangers drafted in the 3rd round last year out of a Tennessee high school, and then Seong-Jun Kim, who was the most expensive Rangers international free agent signing in this most recent class in January of this year. He pitched just a little bit and hit just a little bit. Same with Josh Owens, who actually hit a little bit less than a little bit, but Josh Owens playing shortstop, playing a little bit of second base and pitching, did not allow an earned run, only allowed 1 unearned run, struck out significantly more than a batter per inning, had a little bit of walk problems, and same with Seong-Jun Kim. These guys are still very, very far away, but the actual plan for these guys' development, the Rangers must have seen something, must have learned something, must have figured something out to say, hey, we're going to really take a swing on these two-way guys, let them legitimately try to do both things. Maybe one of them will make it as a 2-way big leaguer. Maybe neither of them will. Maybe they won't make it to the big leagues at all. But as for their development, I am seated. I am sat. I am very curious as to what these guys are going to do. And I was impressed with a brief showing from both of them in their professional debuts. My next to last award is the Are You Okay award, and this goes to Alejandro Rosario, who did not pitch at all this year, who was the Rangers minor league pitcher of the year last year, who was a guy who was on several top 100 prospect lists, and maybe all the top 100 prospect lists before having a torn UCL in his elbow this year. That happened back in March. In April, the Rangers came out and said, hey, he hasn't had Tommy John surgery or whatever UCL reconstruction surgery yet. We're waiting on something, and we'll let you know. That was back in April. I have seen nothing from Rangers PR, from Rangers beats, from minor league PR, from minor league beats. I've seen nothing. It has been now 6 months since this dude tore his UCL, and we don't even know if he's had surgery. Just sound off. Are you okay, Alejandro Rosario? Are you alive and well? Tell me what's going on. Just, I want to see signs of life. I want to see proof of life because I don't know what's happening there. I'm confused, and I am extremely confused how no one else is as confused as I am, because this is a weirdly big deal. This is a guy who had, ceiling of a number 2 starter in the big leagues. He was made it all the way up to Double A. Didn't pitch in Double A last year, but he's just kind of fallen off the map, and I don't know why nobody else cares but me. My last award is the Welcome Back Award, and this goes to Jose Corniell, who came back from Tommy John surgery, another former Rangers minor league pitcher of the year who missed all of 2024 with Tommy John surgery. He came back this year, and my goodness, this dude was a baller. When you combine all 3 levels that he pitched at, both AA, both AAA, and a little bit of rehabbing at the Complex League, he had a 1.85 ERA in 12 games, 34 innings, 36 strikeouts, just 5 walks, just 20 hits, a 167 batting average against, and he had in 20 innings in Frisco a .45 ERA in 6 starts. This guy was absolutely dominant in Frisco. His Round Rock starts in AAA haven't been quite as good, but welcome freaking back Jose Corniell. This guy looked absolutely dominant, and I am so excited that he is back and healthy, and I'm very curious as to see what his role is going to be next year, if he starts the year in AAA Round Rock, if he eventually ends up as a reliever, or maybe even at some point fights for a spot in the Rangers rotation in 2026. I think that's definitely on the table, but Welcome Back Award goes to Jose Corniell. Now, the last couple of things that I want to talk about are Kumar Rocker, who had not pitched since August 7th, came back and made a start with the Round Rock Express last night. He went 2 1/3 innings, allowed just 2 hits, allowed 1 walk, which ended up scoring after a disastrous relief outing by the reliever behind him, who walked a couple guys and then gave up a grand slam in a game that the Round Rock Express gave up 17 runs. It was a lot. And while that one does technically count on Rocker's line, I'm not counting that. He had 2 strikeouts. He threw 40 pitches in 2 1/3 innings, and the only couple of hits that he allowed were, I believe, singles. But what was concerning for me is that he hadn't pitched in a month. The Rangers had sent him to Arizona to rework his pitch mix, and not only was he throwing less hard, nothing was above 96.1 miles per hour, which was a fastball. He only threw 1 cutter, which he threw about 25% of the time in his last few starts. And it was a nasty, nasty pitch. The slider has a little bit more of a conventional shape. This is from Scott Lucas, who I believe was either there watching or was watching on MILB TV. There's less curveball like drop. The slider was so darn good because it was just straight vertical drop. It was straight down. It got a lot of swings and misses, and it was less like that. The curve was also less 12-6, less straight vertical movement, which led to a lot of swings and misses. It was more slurvy. The velocity was down to 71 miles an hour. Maybe it's just a new pitch. I don't know, but I'm concerned for sure. I don't think the pitch shape was the problem with Kumar Rocker. I think the pitch selection was a little bit of a problem, throwing too much of that 4-seam fastball, which was just not a good pitch. The curveball he was not quite able to locate, but that cutter that he broke out, changing that or scrapping that feels like a very, very bad idea. And to see him coming and throwing, not nearly as hard, makes me concerned. There's definitely a lot of, bad outings for him this year. I think part of that was mental. I think part of that was game plan. I think part of that was just stubbornness of doing what had worked previously, and it just wasn't working at the big league level. I think there were some tweaks to be made there that didn't need to be this dramatic. Maybe this is just a little dramatic to pull from one start, but I am concerned, confused, and a little bit discouraged from this most recent outing from Kumar Rocker. But there's one last award I want to give, and it is to somebody who has not pitched for the Texas Rangers at all, although he was linked to him basically every offseason, what feels like for the last 10 years, even when he was under contract for the Los Angeles Dodgers. The local boy Clayton Kershaw announced yesterday that he is going to hang it up after this season. 18 seasons in the big leagues, 2,800 innings so far, over 3,000 career strikeouts, a 2.5 ERA for his career. I mean, just an incredible season for him. An all-star in his final season, a little bit of a commissioner's selection, not necessarily performing to all-star standards. Last time he was an all-star was back in 2023, where even when he's lost his fastball velocity, it was not something that he ever really relied on. Those two breaking balls are just absolutely nasty. Hat tip to Clayton Kershaw, who is making his final start in Dodger Stadium tonight. If you can get to an Apple TV, and watch it, do so. This dude is special. And because every single Rangers minor league reliever of the year for the last couple years has gotten Tommy John surgery, I'm going to go ahead and give the Rangers minor league pitcher of the year award to Clayton Kershaw, because he's probably not going to have Tommy John surgery next year because he is not pitching. So it is safe. Just giving it to 37-year-old Clayton Kershaw. Those are my minor league Rangers pitching award, just player awards for this season. That'll do it for this week's show. Thank y'all so much for listening and subscribing. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy baseball.